screen is visible to you?
Yes, sir.
So this is all about our today's title, that generative AI innovation in management education.
Yes, sir. The screen is shared.
So the screen is visible, sir.
The screen is visible?
Yes, sir. It is visible.
It's visible, sir.
Yes. So very first important part is the generative AI, because the word nowadays AI is replaced with the generative AI. Generative AI is what first we need to understand this part, because AI is what we are thinking that whatever we want we can get through the AI. But nowadays we need to use the generative AI. Generative AI is basically the creation of a new content, such like you have to create an image, you have to create a text which is nowhere else available, right? So you can create in your own way, you can create an image in your own way by giving some prompts. You can create a code and you can generate an audio also. This is all about the generative AI, because nowadays we have to work on this generative AI. Today's the whole discussion lies around this generative AI topic and its concept. So this is very much important, that we need to understand how we can utilize generative AI for the benefit of our own self, for the benefit of our own organization, and for the benefit of our own students. Because nowadays, students are from diverse background. We need to give them n number of things in terms of teaching material, in terms of the resources, in terms of some PPTs. So how we can create, or we can newly create or introduce new things for them. Because at the same level, there is a one word which is very common, that is plagiarism, right? So we need to think about so this is all about the generative AI. Now, in this case, first we need to understand what is the key role of generative AI in the management education. How we can understand, because we all are from the management background and we need to understand this management education, how we can take benefits. So very first is that personalized learning experience. Personalized learning experience means we can create as per the customization, because nowadays customization is very important. You can provide a material according to your learning students, learning tests and preference. Here I'll give you one example. Like in every university, every department, every classroom, we have a various categories of our students. We have a students of fast learners, we have a student from slow learners, medium learners. So all type of material cannot be given to all students. The reason is, if you're providing very good and very high level of English material to the slow learners, that is very difficult for them to understand and to grasp it. So for that purpose, you need to create a material for them as per their own level. This is very important. Earlier, it is very difficult because one book is there and we need to give them the books, or either we can give them a notes. So now you can customize as per your students' need. You can generate personalized quizzes, assignments, study plans as per the need of your students. Even though you can offer instant feedback and clarification on the complex management concepts also, so they may get some clear ideas about their own understanding. This is the first role, that we can give them a personalized learning experience. At the same time, the second most important key role is that enhanced teaching and content development. This is a very crucial and important part, because all of us are faculty members and all of us are engaged in this part. We have to prepare lecture notes, we have to develop case studies, presentations, assessment tools. We have to evaluate the assignments, right? So this generative AI help us in reducing our workload, in improving our content quality through this generative AI technology. And it also helps us in generating the real world business scenarios for the classroom discussions, because it's very difficult for all of us to go to the library and search out the recent case studies, or either on a Google or everywhere. You have to put a hard effort. So with the help of this generative AI technology, you can create a scenario, you can do a real business scenario related discussions, case studies. This is a very helpful thing for the students. This is our second role. And even though you can also update your course content with the current industry trends, because what the industry is requiring, it's difficult for being a faculty member to go into the industry and understand their requirement. Either we can discuss with the concerned company personals, or either with the recruiters or the HRs, but it's very difficult. So we can take the help of this generative AI technology and we can update our course content so that our students will be a future ready or the industry ready students. So this is our second role in the generative AI management education. Now the third is the case study development and analysis. Case study is very common to all of us because being a management professionals, we need to understand the various cases, various aspects, and the things which are currently prevailing in the market. To assist the students in analyzing business problems, generative AI alternative solutions is very much required. We can create case studies for the marketing, finance, HR, operation management. So these are the real-time case studies on the basis of your own need and on demand. If you want to give a case study on ratio analysis, you can create a case study. You can do a case study on the strategic analysis of human resource planning. So you can create the same at that level. So this is a very important and crucial role that played by the generative AI in the management area. The fourth important aspect is the skill development. Skill development is saying it helps our students to develop their skills so that they are being employed by the companies, by the industries. They can improve their business communication skills. They can understand or develop the report writing skills, data interpretation abilities they can develop. They can help or they can understand the problem solving capabilities, even though they are come to the stage that they can make a decision, they can develop their decision making competencies. Here you might be having the question that all the things are done by the AI, so how they develop their own skills. With the help of generative AI, they can understand what report writing is exactly, how to write a report they can understand, so that at the time of writing a report, they can analyze the things. So this is the way our AI helps in developing and students for the AI-enabled workplaces, because now every industry, every organization is based on or work on the AI tools, AI-enabled workplaces. Everywhere AI is there. So students should be AI friendly. Students should understand how to generate reports, how to analyze data, how to interpret data. This is the important aspects. Now, the third important role is that data analysis and the business intelligence. Now, data analysis is, it helps in assisting the analyzing large data sets. Nowadays, there are big sort of data given their companies or the employees needs to generate some dashboard, summarize insights. Even earlier, people used to do for this Power BI and Tableau. Now, this with the help of this generative AI, even there is no need of Tableau and Power BI. You can generate dashboards with the help of this generative AI technology or AI. So it also supports the evidence-based managerial decision making. For example, you have to do some market research. So there are n number of data with you. So how to analyze the data, how to interpret the data, even for the consumer behavioral analysis, for financial forecasting, supply chain optimization, for every and each and every aspect. You can analyze your data with the help of this generative AI technology. And this is the most important, that is assessment and evaluation. Because everywhere after this teaching, the most and important faculty is that we need to generate the objective and subjective examination questions. Now, this subjective and objective examination questions, lots of efforts we need to put. But with the help of this AI, we can create good quality questions, even the questions which is based on the critical thinking, critical analysis, right? That questions can be created, and at the same level, you can create a rubrics for the grading assignments. Now here the rubric. I'm just giving you a short intro about this rubric. Rubric is just nothing, a methodology which gives you a dimension or which gives you an idea that up to which level, how much marks a student should get. For example, in a question, we'll be asking that define the concept, define its concept, importance, functions, and the critical analysis. So if a student only just define the concept, how much marks he will get? If the student define and the importance explained in the examination, then how much marks it will get? So such kind of rubrics or the methodology, or we can say the dimensions for the awarding of marks, that is very important. It will also provide an automated feedback on the student submission. So this helps in the ease and faster evaluation process, consistent assessment standards, and enhanced learning outcomes. Even you can judge or you can evaluate your assessments, written assignments with the help of this AI by giving certain standards, rubrics, and guidelines in the prompt. Student will get a better evaluation rather than the human minds. So this is the way you can evaluate and you can create questions and examinations. For now, in all, we can understand the overall benefits of this generative AI in the management education. First one is the personalization. We can understand this customized learning experience. Second one is that efficiency. It reduces time spent on a routine task. Very important thing that we can save our time, so our efficiency will get increased. Third is the accessibility. 24 by 7 learning support is there. If you want to learn at midnight, 2 p.m., 2 a.m., you can learn. That is the most important part. Innovation that encourages creative problem solving. Engagement, interactive learning environment, where you can create two-way learning environment, and the productivity, because the faster content creation and the analysis, the timing which you need to assess for the 400 copies, which will take around 3 to 4 days, same thing done by this AI in 20 minutes or 15 minutes. So this is a very important thing that we can take a benefit in terms of a personalization to the productivity. So this is very important to understand about this generative AI management. But this is all about this generative AI. Here we need to understand not only this generative AI, there are the challenges also. Challenges in terms of the academic integrity. That the word which I have used is the risk of plagiarism. So much dependency on the AI generated contents increase the plagiarism risk. At the same time, difficulty in assessing the originality is also the biggest challenge. Second is the data privacy and security. Whenever we need to analyze any data, we need to upload our data on an AI platform, ChatGPT, Google, Gemini, Claude, so many platforms are available. So, how much security is there? You need to understand this part also, because you are providing data to someone third party to analyze. This is a very risky. You are sharing your privacy content, private contents, your own designed materials to the platforms. So data protection and data security is the biggest challenge. Accuracy and reliability. Whenever we create any data through this AI, it's not necessary that there is a surety that whatever the information, whatever the results you will be getting, that will be 100% accurate. No. You need to critically verify scrutinize that the data generated or the data prepared by this AI is correct or not. So you cannot 100% reliable on this AI generated data. It can assist you, it can help you, but it cannot give you surety. Fourth one is the ethical issues. AI is working on the systems on the basis of the informations, on the basis of the inputs, on the basis of the scenario. But the ethics part, or we can say the ethical issues, responsibilities, does not exist in this AI platform. So there may be the biasness in AI models, the way of thinking which a human mind is thinking. It's not possible that the AI will think in the same manner. So some ethical issues is also there. Later on in the later slide, we will discuss in detail what kind of ethical behavior is need to be developed when a human mind takes a decision at the same time when an AI makes a decision. This next is that digital divide. AI is very much prevailing, but we need to understand we have a population of 140 crores, right? And how much population is accessing the data, how much population is having digital literacy, how much population is having the resources available. So it's very much different. We cannot say that 100% peoples are having an equal access of these digital platforms. So there is an unequal access, and we many times we will divide the students in terms of digital divide. Many times in our own university and on our education system, we find the students who have never seen a computer or desktop. Either they have seen the desktop, but they don't know how to use this desktop, how to open this PowerPoint presentation, how to open the Word document. So this is a very difficult, and in that case, expect that they use this AI platform and they generate this AI content. So this is very important. Right? So these are the challenges. We need to understand these challenges also when we talk about this generative AI in the management education. Because if that is the benefits is a one-sided, the challenges in the another side. So we, being the management professionals, we need to think about both the aspects, and then only we can go ahead for this generative AI in management education. So here our presentation starts after this background information that what is the generative AI. We have to move ourselves from the content creation to the management judgment, because we are the professionals. We are much above than the content creation part, because everyone, even a small kid, we can say that the person who is studying in a CBSE board or ICSE board or MP board, right, or the Maharashtra board, you can create the content, you can easily create, but you cannot manage the judgment, right? So here our journey starts at content creation to the management judgment. Here human AI collaboration is needed. We need to use AI, but we need to use a human mind also, that how we can cope up with this AI as well as the management judgment. So in this, I have divided into this four basic phases. The first phase is our crisis of the text-based classrooms. Here, the things which we are doing or which we did in the last 5 years, 3 years, right? Text-based classrooms. We are not used AI, but we have given them the assignments and many things, right? This is now outdated. Now, the second part comes around is defining management judgment in the AI era. Now, here we need to define and what is the management judgment in the AI era. Now, the third is what kind of interactive pedagogy and how we can redesign assignments. This is very important because nowadays Giving an assignment is very easy, but what type of assignment, how we can redesign the assignment, how our pedagogy could be interactive, this we need to understand and this we need to develop for our students. And the fourth phase is our institutional framework and the assessment shifts. That is also very important, that how being an institution, I'm not saying about the professionals. I'm saying about the institutions. They need to design this framework. They need to shift their assessment part also, their curriculum part also, their grading criteria also. So everything we need to change from this text-based classroom to the institutional framework. This all divided into the four phases, right? So that we need to understand. Now our first phase starts. The first phase is the crisis of the text-based classroom. Here I will just put one question. If ChatGPT can write a 10-page assignment on a marketing strategy in 20 seconds, what exactly we evaluating when we award marks? But it's question for us. I'm giving an assignment to a student. He write the 10 pages of that assignment in just 20 seconds. Even though more than 20 seconds, I put my hard efforts to create that assignment. But when we submit that assignment, what exactly we have to evaluate, right? When we award marks, it is difficult to us. What kind of marks we have to evaluate? Here the question starts. So our traditional management education models, more than a decade, we assess the students through assignments, case analysis reports, business plans, literature reviews, presentations, internships. So we have given them so many things and they did well in their part. But this assumption what we had developed is that the student who produce better tests, those who are better with plan, those who have better analysis, those who are better writing the assignments, we understand that they have a better understanding of the concept. This is the assumptions which we are underlying from the previous traditional management education models. But nowadays, suppose very first prompt we are given, prepare a SWOT analysis of Reliance Jio entry strategy in Indian telecom market. Now what AI will do? AI will take some fraction of seconds. AI will generate strength, weakness, opportunities, threats. This is a simple solution within a 5 seconds, which whenever I give any assignment, any task to my students, right? Earlier, it requires library work, internet search, several hours of efforts. So this is the way our education mindset, our traditional model and the present model work. Just have a look on this second model. Prepare a market entry strategy for an electronic vehicle company entering India. Again, if this type of task I'll give, then what AI will do the market analysis, competitors analysis, pricing strategy, distribution channel, their risk assessment, everything. And in the MBA classrooms, this may resemble that high scoring assignments. If any student did all these things, then we can think that this student is a brilliant one. He can do each and every analysis. He is a very knowledgeable student. This is the way. But now AI is doing this in 5-10 seconds. What to do, how we can go ahead with such type of situation, such type of scenario. This is a situation where we need to put our efforts and we need to think. So the core crisis is generative AI has automated the execution layer. Now our perspective has to change. Now execution layer is taken by the generative AI, which earlier taken by the student itself, but nowadays it's taken by the generative AI, not by the student. AI will write, AI will summarize, formatting, drafting, basic coding, basic analytics, report generation. So now, historically, this occupied a major portion of management education assessment. Earlier, we assessed the students on the part of this. Like, for example, take an example of 5 years, 6 years, or 10 years before, whenever any student submit any report, what we think, that what content he wrote, how summarizing these things, what is the formatting label, Times New Roman, size, spacing, justification, everything we check. And then we analyze that this student is very brilliant. Everything is doing in a perfect manner, even though the drafting, analytics, and report generation. But now this is outdated. This is taken by the generative AI. So now it's not our part to judge these things in the report. Now, earlier, what an MBA student will do, I'm taking an Indian context, right? Collect the data, analyze manually, and write reports. This is the previous. Now, upload data, AI creates a whole report. So simply, we just upload the data, information, and AI will create the whole report in a structured format. Even for the HR projects, recruitment strategy, AI generates complete recruitment framework. In a finance, ratio analysis and interpretation, nowadays AI completes both in a fraction of seconds. So this is all about, we need to think about this, that we should not give such type of questions, such type of analysis to the students, because if we do give them such type of things, they will do it with the help of AI. They will not use their own mind. And for this AI generated work, how we can evaluate them, how we can grade them, how we can analyze that this student is having a knowledge. Because this is a question for us, for a student, for everywhere. Here, being a faculty, what is my reflection? Can a student submit an AI generated assignment and score above 80%? How he can score 80% and how I can give him the marks 80% when the things is not done by him? So this is very important. Now the real threat, the threat is not that a student use AI. The question is not that he is using AI. The threat is we continue assessing tasks that no longer require meaningful human thinking. So whatever the task we are giving, right, that is not require meaningful human thinking. So we need to change our pattern. We cannot change the student that we should not use AI. No, it's a time of to use AI. We have to make them aware that use AI, but we need to change our own pattern. Right? We need to change our own assessing techniques so that only our students can benefit, our organization, and we, even the society also can get benefits. So this key message for my phase one discussion is old formula, knowledge, we will write and we will score. New reality is knowledge plus AI write instantly. There is no role of score. Therefore, writing is no longer proof of learning. If our examination only tests what AI can produce in 5 seconds, then our grading system is measuring the technology, not the students. Here, the answer of my questions. If we assess those students, so we are not assessing those students, we are assessing the technology measurement. Right? So what we have to do next, we need to understand this. So here, the phase two will define the management judgment in the AI era. Because this AI era is there, so we need to define the management judgment, what we can do. The fundamental question, if AI can write reports, what remains? We need the human. What we can do. So we have to do management in judgment. We have to think about this judgment. What is this management judgment? Management judgment is the ability to make a responsible decision under uncertainty while considering context, ethics, stakeholders, and long-term consequences. So, being the management professionals or being a management student, what is my responsibility? My responsibility is to take a decision under uncertainty. while considering the context, ethics, stakeholders, long-term consequences. This AI cannot win. This is my management judgment. I can take help of AI. I can generate report, but on the basis of that report, I have to take the decision whether I accept this report or not. Being a student of a management background education, and a student should be able to make a decision, being a responsible citizen, being a considering into the ethics, stakeholder, long-term consequences, societal impact, environmental impact, right? That is the role management takes judgment. That judgment should be able that student should take. Now, there are the four big pillars of the management judgment. First is the contextual understanding, understanding situation, environment, broader dynamics before acting, right? So the student need to understand the contextual understanding. Second is ethical evaluation is also very important. Whenever you evaluate any reports, any decisions, anything even by the AI generated, then you need to ethically evaluate. Assess choice through the value of lens, integrity, long-term consequences, and the decision making under data scarcity. You have many times that incomplete information, but on the basis of that information, how you confidently take decisions, that is very important. Then the fourth one is that stakeholders empathy, because on your decisions, your stakeholder relies on a very high level, on very much bigger part, because stakeholders directly or indirectly associated with your decision. You need to consider about the people who get impacted with your decision, the trust of the people, your goodwill, your reputation, your brand. At the same level, how meaningful relationships you can develop through the stakeholders' empathy. So these are the basic four pillars of management judgment, which a student need to understand, which being a management professionals we need to understand and develop. So here we'll discuss one by one the deep level of each and every pillar so that we can develop understanding ourselves and we can develop understanding among the students. First is that contextual understanding. It says AI sees the patterns. Here, whatever patterns in the market, in the structure, in the uh, web servers, that AI in understanding that pattern. Manager sees the context. Here the difference. Pattern means the things which are going on in the market, but the manager sees that context. Context means the things which are beyond the pattern that managers can see. Just I'll give you one simple example. In an Indian rural market, right, there is a prompt you are given, suggest marketing strategy for digital payment application. Now AI may suggest you social media campaigns, influencer marketing, loyalty programs. This is the suggestion given by the AI. But at the same time, a manager working in a rural area of Madhya Pradesh. I am giving you Madhya Pradesh example because I belong to the Madhya Pradesh. So there is a internet penetration issues, language diversity, digital literacy barrier, and the trust issues. Here, AI fails and the managers succeed because AI suggests on the basis of the patterns, but the manager thinks on the basis of context, which he developed by working, by living, by interacting with the people of that area. This is how we can develop the contextual understanding. Here, the management judgment matters. AI here fails. Second is the ethical evaluation. Ethical evaluation is saying AI can recommend actions. It cannot own the consequences. Means AI can give you the recommendations that you can take this, you can do this, you can do that. But whatever the consequences, apart from taking that those actions, that AI will not evaluate, will not recommend. This is the most important thing that ethically we need to understand each and everything. For example is that loan approval. Suppose a bank uses AI, then on the basis of AI recommends rejecting loans from a particular district because default rates are high. Now, for example, in many areas, like whenever we discuss with this finance persons, they say that in particular area we cannot give you loan, we cannot issue you credit card because that area comes under the defaulter list, right? So because of AI based recommendations, that applications reject. The question is it financially efficient? Possibly yes, but if it is socially fair, no. Again, it is a question of debatable. Might be if a person who is living in that area, but he is having sound goodwill, he is having good reputation, he is not having a single fault in his CIBIL score, his CIBIL score is more than 850. So where is this situation raised? Where this AI recommendations? So here managers must decide, not the AI recommendations. AI just give you simple guidelines, but the ultimate decision is taken by the management or the managers. So this is the way ethical evaluation take part in this AI generated environment. Third one is that decision making under data scarcity. Sometimes AI performs best with the data, but managers often works without data. Big example of this COVID-19 lockdown situation in March 2020. No historical data existed about this COVID, this situation, this market scenario, this environment. Yet managers has to decide employee safety, remote work, supply chain continuity. So at that type of situation, AI cannot give you the correct solution because there was no pattern, there was no data. AI can work on the basis of data, on the basis of information. Management or managers can work on the basis of their intellectual mindset. Here, AI had a little precedented, human judgment dominated. This is the way, in case of a data scarcity, how human mind can make decisions, but the AI failures. Another thing is the stakeholders' empathy. The manager deals with the people. People are emotional, but AI predicts humans empathize, not the emotions, not deals with the people. So, for example, if you give them instruction to the AI that company is reducing workforce, the AI may suggest that eliminate 10% staff. But the manager must consider what is its family impact, what is its employee morale, reputation, community response, each and everything a manager need to consider. But AI will not consider each and everything. AI just take a simple decision, eliminate 10% staff. So here it is very important and very important thing to understand how we can develop stakeholder empathy. So these are the four pillars. And in this Indian exam context, during the economic downturn, many firms retain employees despite of lower profits. This is the decision reflected by human values. This is very important. And not an algorithmic optimization because AI works on algorithms. Now, new MBA graduate, earlier report writer, future decision architect. Now, what we need to develop our MBA graduates as a decision architect, not a report writer. This is very important. Now, our third phase will start because here we understand the management judgment also. So, what kind of interactive pedagogy and assessment assignment redesigning? Being a faculty, we need to find the solution. We understand the first context, text-based classrooms. We understand the management judgment, but how we can go ahead with this situation? So we need a solution. very important part. Being me, being you, everyone needs a solution. So shift from the answer generation to the decision defense. This is our task. So how we can shift ourselves from the answer generation to the decision defense? That traditional assignment, prepare a marketing plan for a month. AI can do it, but the new assignment, what you can do is AI generates 3 marketing plans. The student must answer which plan would you choose, which would you reject, why, what risk do you foresee. So here the pattern changes. Earlier also we have given them the situation. This time also we have to give them a situation, but the situation variety matters. Nowadays we cannot give them a simple task that prepare a marketing plan. No, that AI can do. But we can do them. AI generates 3 marketing plans. Student, you need to answer which plan you choose, which plan you reject, why, and what risk do you foresee. Now judgment is assessed. On the basis of this judgment, whatever answers, whatever reply he's give, on the basis of that reply, this judgment, you can assess them. So this is the way we can assess them. Some Viva-based assessment we can do that requires AI report plus oral defense. Students submit AI-assisted reports. Now, 95% students submitted the reports prepared with the help of AI only, right? So now we have to ask, why did you choose this recommendations? We need to ask them this question so that the real understanding emerges out. We cannot give them marks on the basis of their good reports. No, we need to give them marks on the basis of the level of understanding, what they give you in terms of practical answers, Viva, right? This is the way we can change our assessment methods. Contradictory data cases we can give them. We can provide them incomplete information. Like, for example, an Indian startup that revenue is increasing, customer satisfaction decreasing, employee turnover rising. Now, these 3 situations are very contradictory. Revenue is increasing. So, if revenue is increasing, then customer satisfaction is decreasing, opposite things. And revenue is increasing, employee turnover is rising. In such type of situation, we should ask that should the company expand or stabilize? Whatever the revert, whatever the reply the student gives, that the student must elaborate the reason on what ground he is giving you the reply or his assertions that he is saying about the expansion, he is saying about the stabilize, or he is about indifferent. To that situation you need to give so that you can assist the students on the basis of their intellectual mindset rather than AI generated data. Now, AI in the loop learning. AI in the loop learning means now we cannot ban AI. Instead of banning AI, we need to teach students how to use it. In a classroom activity, what you can do is the first step 1 is ask AI for the strategy. Step 2, identify their weakness. Right? Then third is improve output. And step 4 is compare versions. Now, these 4 steps, when you take it out into a classroom activity, then definitely your students will also understand how to use this AI in a better way, and they also understand to learn the critical evaluation part, that on the basis of information, on the basis of AI generated strategies, whatever the weakness is there, they're able to remove that weakness, they're able to improve their outputs, they can compare the various outputs, various versions, then only they can come to some conclusions, some final decisions. So this is very important part. The fifth shift is that multi-stakeholder analysis. For example, a farm gate procurement pricing that student must analyze from the farmer's perspective, from the government perspective, consumer perspective, and the corporate perspective. That how much procurement pricing is there. So, on the basis of this, AI struggle to reconcile competing interests effectively because being a human mind, we can analyze what is the farmer's perspective, what is the other's perspective, what is its role, right? So that is very important part that we need to understand. Some live industry cases we can give them so that their AI generated part or based on AI is somewhere assessed in a different way. Like you can use current example ONDC, UPI ecosystem, Jepto, Sweetly, Ola Electronics, EV policy implementation. The student evaluate evolving situation where answers are uncertain. Ola Electric and ONDC. Somewhere some part is uncertain. You can give them some live industry cases where they can use their own mind also. Even though you can suggest some new examination patterns also, which based on your creativity, based on your evaluation, presenting, learning, so everything you can take for this part. Now, first pattern is that AI allowed examinations. Whatever I am saying here is little difficult because the university system and the UGC system is not permitting, but in future, very soon, they will be permitting for this AI allowed examinations because in CBSE also open book examination they have planned. So AI allowed examination also not a big thing, big task which we can presently we are thinking that it's not possible, but in very future, say for example, next 4 to 5 years, you may be surprised or we may be surprised that UGC may allow use of AI in examination. So how? That use AI to generate a business strategy, but critique that strategy and improve it. Here the question arises, right? You can generate business strategy through the AI, but that strategy critique and improvisation in that strategy is a human part. And you can marks on the basis of their prompt quality, how good prompt you are giving. Prompt is basically nothing, just an imagination you are developing in the mm, uh, text of a AI, right? Whatever you are imagining in a perfect way, that is called prompt. Second is critique quality. How critically you are analyzing the things. That on that basis you can award marks. Improvement quality. How that strategy can be improved. That improvement quality you can award marks. So this is the way we can think AI allowed examinations. Board simulations. Instead of taking an examination, so we can give them a situation. Student act as an CEO, CFO, CHRO, marketing head, and they defend decisions before the panels. This is the way they can able to understand the real situation on the basis of various tasks, various scenario given to them. So this is the way how boardroom simulation techniques, we can use them in the assessment or examination. Third is 24 hours consulting challenge. Student can use AI, they can use reports, they can use internet. They present the recommendations and the assessment focus on the judgment, no text generations. Whatever recommendations they are giving, right, on the basis of those recommendations, you can find out the judgment that how good they are and they are giving them in the recommendation point of view. But the question arises, which I am saying that it's a challenge. How do we grade learning when every report looks professionally written? It's a challenge to all of us. All the assignments are of same quality, all the things are written in a good quality, all points are covered. Then how can we evaluate and how we can grade them? This is A, B, C, D, or we can say that this is uh, 10 out of 10, 7 out of 10. It's very difficult for us to, being an institutional challenge, we need to define the framework. We have to shift our assessment part from product-based evaluation to the process-based evaluation. Now, the situation says we are not judging them on the basis of product. We have to judge them on the basis of process. What process they are following, we need to understand and we need to grade them. So how we can evaluate the problem framing? Did the student ask the right question? The first. Then the evidence selection. Did the student choose appropriate evidence for this problem? Then the reasoning quality. Can the student justify the recommendations? Whatever recommendation he is recommending, is he is able to justify or not? That we need to understand and we need to think about during the evaluation. Ethical awareness. Did the student identify social implications for his recommendations? And the reflection is that can the student explain what AI means? This is very important part because being a student, whenever we evaluate or we can think this part, right? All these points we need to consider. Being a faculty, we also need to consider that what problem he is framing, what evidence he is selecting, what kind of reasoning quality is there, he is aware about this ethical aspects or not, and what reflections we are getting about this student's recommendations as work. So this is important part. Now, the another important part is that suggestive weightage model. How much weightage we can give for the assessment part. For AI generated an output, we can weight only up to 10% because there is very less efforts put by the students. Analyzing and creating, it's a difficult part. Now, it's a human invention, human interaction is required. To 30% we can weightage. Decision justification, because whenever he taking justification decision, he is recommending, so the justification is required. Viva and presentation we can marks, reflection report we can award some weightage. So in this way, we can develop and weightage about each and every assessment model. So this is just a suggestive model that in case if being an institution, we would like to develop this model, so we can develop. Then some suggestive AI institutional policy is that faculty should encourage allowed their brainstorming, summarization, drafting, data visualization, idea generation. AI tools use prompts, use AI content, generated content use. All these should be allowed. There should not be any kind of restrictions in this. What restrictions they should develop? Blind copy paste submission is not allowed. Undisclosed AI generated reports, those AI generated reports that are undisclosed, right? That should not be used. Fabricated references, that is very uh, unethical that the people use fabricated references. That is not should be happen. Fake data generation, even many times when your students submit that reports, they prepare the questionnaires, they generate the data of that questionnaire with the help of AI. That is called fake data generation. So that should not be allowed. That should not be acceptable. So here we need to understand what we can accept and what we should not accept. That is also an important part for the AI generation. AI literacy framework for management institutions. Now, what students should learn? First level is AI awareness. Second level, prompt engineering. Level 3, AI evaluation. Level 4, AI augmented decision making. Level 5, responsible AI leadership. So the student understand level by level. First, we need to have awareness what AI is, and second is prompt engineering, how we can give prompt and how we can effectively utilize. Then AI based evaluation, how on the basis of AI we can evaluate the things. AI augmented decision making, with the help of AI, how we can take decision making, and the responsible AI based leaderships. On the basis of this, this student can learn so many things and they could be the good citizen. In all, the conclusion says that the purpose of management education has never been to produce reports. It has always been to produce responsible decision makers. Generative AI has simply forced us to remember the distinctions. So here we can say that the purpose of management education is not producing that reports. We have to develop the responsible decision makers. Right? This is very important. And the final conclusion is in the AI era, knowledge remains important, the skills remains valuable, but the judgment becomes ultimate competitive advantage. This is the main part for which we all need to work collaboratively. And the future and the classroom will not reward students for generating answers. They will reward them for defending decisions, that whatever decisions they are taking on how much their decisions are good, that is very important. So from my side, this is all about this, how we can understand this AI concepts, AI, generative AI concepts, right? At the same time, in this scenario, we can understand generative AI helpful in our management education, no doubt, how we can develop ourselves being a faculty, being a teachers from the text-based classroom to the management judgment to the interactive pedagogy to the other aspects, that is the institutional framework. So my this presentation starts from the faculty part, and the some part is related to the institutional part also, that how an institute can think about the using of AI among the students and how we can change certain policies using of AI, because we cannot stop students to use of AI. We need to create them awareness, we need to develop them, but at the same vice versa, there is very important part that we need to understand. We need to make them decision